Hi everyone, it's Catherine here from Inky Finky Cat, and I'm going to do some crafting. Yay! So I am going to use, I don't know what I'm making, but I'm going to use the In Bloom stamps to make a card, and potentially might use the dies that go with it, which are called Pierce Bloom dies. I haven't got them all on the card because they're all currently on my desk in a big puddle ready for me to use. So I'm going to work out how you use them together as stamps and dies, because I thought that they sort of coordinated and that these shapes were also in the shapes in the dies, but they're not. It doesn't work like that. I'm going to have a go and see what I can come up with, and I thought I'd put the video on and you can see me have a play, because this is just a play session, and all I'm starting with at the moment is a piece of, well, it's actually a card blank, so a white card blank. So without further ado, I'm going to flip it over, put it on the downward screen, and we're going to get going. All right then. Right, I think what I'm going to do is start with a bit of a background effect using some of these stamps, because they're all sort of shape stamps rather than details, so I think that might be quite nice to create a background, maybe going across the card like that, then have a focal point and then a sentiment of some kind. Don't know, let's just go for it. Not quite sure whether to chit chat or whether to put you into fast forward yet. I suppose it'll see. As you can see, I'm just literally going to get all the stamps out that are floral shape. They'll do. And some little ones. Actually wondering whether to, no, I won't stamp platform because I want to do different colours for each one. So I'm going to put them all on individual blocks. Now, a lot of my blocks are not Stampin' Up blocks, so apologies if those of you who want supplies are going, oh, she's not using Stampin' Up stuff. No, I'm not. I will be using mainly Stampin' Up stuff, but I've got a lot of acrylic blocks, most of which are not Stampin' Up ones. And if you've already got something, why would you go and buy it again? So that's a Stampin' Up one. You just wouldn't if you've already got them, would you? You just go with it. So, mounted all the stamps. Now to choose the colour scheme. So, what I've got to the side of me is a little pouch that's got loads of little bits of cardstock, and I'm thinking, do I want to punch, well, not punch, die cut out of this for the thing, or am I going to go for a completely different colour and just use new cardstock? Oh, am I going to go for the bigger pieces? Is there some colours in here that I'm thinking I want to match with? So this is what I do. I put pieces of cardstock that I've sort of already half cut into. So they're quite pretty, but no. No, I'm going to go with choose me ink colours, and then I'll just find cardstock that matches. So, what colour should we go with? I'm thinking pinks and purples. So I'm thinking maybe some rich raspberry and some blushing bride. And maybe, too dark, maybe blackberry bliss. No, I reckon some blackberry bliss, that might work. And some melon mambo. What do you reckon about that? It's quite pretty, isn't it, for colours of flowers? So we'll go for, I know some of these ink pads are less than juicy, but let's go for some bigger flowers in the melon mambo. So you'll see, because I'm not sure how juicy these particular ink pads are, I did press that into the ink quite a few times. There we go, that's all right. It's not as bright as it could be, but it'll do. This is the background after all. There we go. Right, so that's that flower shape done. Pop that to one side. And you'll find when you're doing this kind of stamping and creating a background, you'll want to do your biggest shapes first, because then you can fill in around them with your little shapes. So what's this one? This is Blackberry Bliss. So this is probably our darkest colour. So I'm going to just stamp off the edge, because I quite like it when that happens. That's fine. And then maybe we can have a couple of petals just off that edge, and that'll do nicely. What I don't want to do is to create too much dark in the background. So that's, I'll probably come back to some of these colours with the tiny little stamps. So again, we're going to go for a darker colour, which is the Rich Raspberry. This is one of my favourite stamping colours ever. So we'll go for one there. It's very similar to the Blackberry Bliss, but just slightly pinker. That'll do nicely. And then I think we'll go for this shape for the blushing. Right now, this is an incredibly old stamp pad, so make sure that that's nice and inked, and it might actually create a bit of a not as keen on that one, but it is on your background, Catherine. No, I think that'll do for that. Right, small shapes. So let's go for this one. We'll go with the what did I say this was? Forgotten already. Blushing Bride. Nice. And then we'll go back to, I think, the Blackberry Bliss for this one. That's nice. Oh no, that was a bad stamp. It's because I rocked it slightly. There we are. I think I've got away with that. Perhaps filling more of this card than I was expecting to, but never mind. As you can see, hands are filthy already. Blackberry Bliss, Rich Raspberry, always do this. Always stain the hands. I've got a craft scrubby upstairs though, so I shall go and do that before we have lunch. Because I'm filming this, it's actually New Year's Eve. I don't know when it'll get loaded up onto YouTube, but that's when I'm filming it. It's New Year's Eve, where we are hopefully saying goodbye to 2020, and for me the worst December ever. The mixture of not physically seeing my parents for Christmas, on top of having been really poorly throughout December with COVID. Keep doing that. I'm not doing a very good job of stamping today. So I am well and truly looking forward to getting rid of this year. I imagine that other people would say. I know it's not going to be perfect immediately, but hopefully soon we'll start to see the back of everything. Do you know what? I'm going to go and pop a couple more of these light ones in now I've filled that central area. That works nicely. There we go. I think that's nice. And I think what I what I do is just leave that to one side now. So a lot of stamping, but left it fairly plain and fairly simple. So I'm now going to go off and choose my cardstock to go to cut my focal images out of the dies, see what I can do in terms of adding any additional details using the stamps onto those dies, and then choose my sentiment. So I'm going to pop you on pause and go and see what I can find. Okay, so I've been and grabbed Shaded Spruce, Rich Razzleberry, Melon Mambo, Blushing Bride, and an in colour Pretty Peacock, because I think that those are good colours to go with. Well, obviously the pinks are all in the card already, but I think those two greens will look really nice as the leaves. So now I'm going to have a little die cutting session. So I'm going to pop that to one side and all of my inks to one side. In fact, I need to move some of my stamps out of the way and have a wee tidy up. Okay, so big pile of lovely die cuts to choose from. Far more than you need for one little card, isn't there? So this is where you start playing and deciding how you want it to look. I'm thinking maybe that and that. I'm thinking some of these leaves in the Pretty Peacock would look quite cute. Still got some washi tape on my hand. Now, which flowers shall we go for? I'm thinking that's quite cute, along with maybe that, and maybe a slightly smaller. Yeah, that'll work. Maybe another in that bright pink, the Melon Mambo, wasn't it? Maybe that one there, and maybe one of those there. I'm actually thinking of swapping that and then having that. And maybe instead of that, we'll go for, I think, actually no, just another one of those, I think, maybe further down here. Yeah, that's a nice balance. And then I'm thinking that the centre of that one can be that colour, and the centre of these two can be those colours. And maybe, was there a little one? There we go, that'll do nicely for the centre of that one. And then maybe these little ones can just, oops, that's come out of there, hasn't it? Can just dash around here. I want to do maybe that colour instead. I think. So this is where you now search through for the teeny tiny ones. that enough of those? Do we go for a couple others as well? Maybe that. And one more in Melon Mambo if we've got one. There we go, got one there. There we go. Right, that waffling was me working out what I want on this particular card. So what I'm actually going to do, normally I would stick them straight into my little silver tin. So this is my silver tin that's got loads of die cut bits in. But on this case, I'm actually going to shove them into a little pouch because I'm going to do some more projects, I think, using these. And I don't want to have to dig through the whole tin, which has got a whole load of mixes. So I'm thinking, shove all those in there. And they're there ready for another project. Now, I wanted to see if I could combine the stamps with the dies actually on the dies. So I think what I'm going to do first is I want to take a picture, which I can't because I'm using my camera to video. So bear with me whilst I just work out and how I take a picture. Here we go. Right, I managed to do that, which means that I can come back to that later on when I've forgotten what it looks like. And now we want to see, I'm thinking that the centres of the flowers all need some little dotty things on. So there is this and this. So you can see I've already used a couple of these stamps previously, and one of them has definitely been dyed using the pinky coloured inks. Always dyes your stamps. What colour to use? I'm thinking I just use the Rich Raspberry. No, let's go Blackberry Bliss for the centre of each of them. So the dotty ones on the big ones. That works. There we go. And then the little one is more of a cluster. There we go. Hardly see it, but I know it's there. So that's those. I'm also thinking I am just going to add a few of those onto the card, just as tiny fillers. There we go, that'll do. Right, must put that stamp back because otherwise it's tiny. I will lose it, especially if it falls on my floor because my floor is so messy. Right, what else can we do to these stamps, I wonder? To these die cuts, I wonder. What have we got in here? I'm wondering if 5. How many petals? Oh, it's only a 4 petal one. So I'm thinking a 4 petal one, the centre would look a little bit like that, just to give it a bit of a darker shade. And again, I'm going to go for black. No, on this one I'm going to go for Rich Raspberry because I don't want it to be quite a stark difference. But it just will give a bit of coloration to the centre of the flowers. Yeah, I like that. I think once they've got the centre in, there we go, they're nice. Don't even know if you can see that on the video particularly well, but hopefully you can. And the pink Melon Mambo one. Right, which shape do we need for this? So it's a 1, 2, 3, 6 petal. I don't know if we've got a 6 petal. So I think we'll just go for that shape. Because I think that shape, but again, I'm going to add it in the same colouring because the card's stock. Because I don't want it to be too drastic a difference. I'm just going to head to the centre and go like that. Oh, you can barely see that. But it'll do. I'm thinking we might, do you know what, I'm going to do a stamp off and then we're going to do that on the centre of that one as well. I think that'll look quite cute once it's got its centre on. So that's going to end up like that. You're not going to even be able to see it. And that's going to look like so. Thinking. I'm thinking I want something with a bit more definition than that one is showing me. So have a look at the other things that are in here. I'm wondering if I just go like that, that'll work. Yeah, it just gives the centre a little bit more definition without being extreme. Right, time now to stick them down. I've already vaguely forgotten, pretty much forgotten where they go, so I'm just gonna, I can't be bothered to go and look up that photo, but it's there if I'd have needed it. I am just gonna layer things up as I feel like it. That'll do nicely. And then we were definitely going for, in fact, let's put the centres on these flowers so we've done them. Oops. There we go. And I'm just using high-tack wet glue just because it's easier than trying to use any kind of tape. Glue dots would work, but might start to give a bit of dimension. And at this stage, I don't want dimension because I think with these die cuts on already, it's going to have some dimension just because they are layering on top of each other. So I'm not feeling the need to add any others. So let's see. I think maybe a bit further up with that one. And you could, I don't know whether you're seeing because I'm not concentrating on what the camera's showing, but I'm not putting a huge amount of glue on any of these things, and I am leaving the end bits sort of without glue. So you can see I've put a bit of glue in the centre just because I think that that's quite a pretty look when you get to especially because you can then tuck in additional elements. In fact, I'm thinking we might need a couple more leaves just to give a bit of a different look. I've not got any leaves for this one. But yeah, it just means that they're raised off the side of the edges, and it just gives your card a little bit more movement and texture. Thinking if we put that into there, like so. Do we want to put another one down there? Yeah, that works. Gosh, I've just realised the time, it's 1 o'clock. We need to have some lunch. So, fingers crossed I can get this card finished before I have to go off and do lunch. There we go. And I think because we're already raising things up, you can see already we've got a bit of dimension going on. We don't need to add dimensionals for these. I do feel like I need another leaf in there. Maybe we've got a smallish one of those. That works. You see how handy it is that I didn't put glue underneath all of the petals, because I wouldn't have been able to tuck that in then. Right, do we want these? I'm not entirely sure I want those on now. And these, I'm not really thinking a huge amount about where I'm sticking them. I am literally just sticking them down. And maybe one there. Okay, yeah, changed my mind about those. They sort of remind me of little starfish, those ones. So a bit different. Right, now we need a sentiment. Right, now this does come with something you can die cut and put on it, but I don't think I want to use that today. So let's look on the sheet. Let's have a look what sentiment we want. So, happy birthday, you really are the best. You mean so much to me. You are amazing, and congrats, you're so fancy now. Very tempted to use the congrats, you're so fancy now. And I have a reason to send a card like that at some point this next year, because my cousin, my wonderful cousin, who owns a pharmaceutical company and is an immunologist by trade, and has done some work for COVID treatments and all the rest of it, which we are all in our family super proud of her. She has been given an OBE. She was actually given it in the Queen's birthday honours, I think it was. Anyway, it was earlier in the year, it wasn't the New Year's honours. But yeah, she was given an OBE, so she's not yet received it officially from the Queen or from a member of the royal family as yet. But she will be doing this year, and I'm thinking this would be a perfect card for my cousin. She's also massively into pink. She loves pink, so I'm thinking that that would be a perfect thing to do. I'm thinking that the reason I'm sort of hovering, is because I'm having thoughts, is whether to banner it and to do it across both sides, or just coming in from a side. I'm thinking that way. Right, okay. Is this the right width that I've cut it to? Yes, it is. That's good. So I'm not going to think about that just yet. And I'm going to stamp using the Blackberry Bliss. Way up. Important not to rock your stamps when you're stamping a sentiment, because you don't want to catch the edge of it. Oh, that's not too bad. Not 100% straight, but it'll do for me. In fact, what I might do is just slightly cut it down, which will allow me to get it straighter. And it can go on the next width of the punch, which will work. That's what's so great about this punch. So it started at 1 inch wide, because you can do 1 inch wide like so, or you can do 3/4 inch, or you can do the smallest one, which is 1/2 inch. Perfect. And what I think actually might be a nice idea is to mount it on one of the other colours. Maybe do 1 inch wide for those. I'm wondering about that would work. See, that's why we don't throw anything away. This was the piece that we were die cutting from, that was just, I didn't need any more leaves in this colour. I thought, right, stick that in the bag of tricks. And there we go. See, now this is 1 inch wide. Ooh, slightly stuck on there. There we go. Keep it nice and straight. And now we have punched banner flag that's the perfect for going as the base to that. So I'm thinking if I stick it down and then I'll just trim it at the same length. So nice, perfectly lined up with the same punched finish. And do we go for a little border like that? Do we cut it down a little bit more? No, I think we go for the border. I like the border. That works. And I think that's the perfect card for my cousin. I'm wondering whether it needs a bit of sparkle, because, you know, why not? So I'm thinking about the rhinestones or the pearls. No, I think rhinestones on this one. And we'll just do the little ones, I think. Oop. And we'll just do a little scatter of rhinestones, maybe 5 in total. 3 down there. And 1. And 2. Perfect. A little bit of sparkle. Job's a good one. So let me pop that behind so you can see it nicely. We have got our lovely stamping and die cutting combined card. Not entirely sure that I think that the stamps and the dies go together brilliantly in terms of when you actually do it onto the dies, but as a background it works perfectly. I actually think that those stamps will make beautiful cards on their own. I thought it was shaping up to be a really nice card, or even stamped and then fussy cut out to add some elements. But I love the dies. I think the dies are just fabulous with all that stitching detail, or pierced detail, I suppose it is. So is it called pierced? I've forgotten what they're called and I've lost everything because everything's just a mess now. Here we go. So the pierced blooms dies and the in bloom photopolymer set you can get as a bundle, which gives you some money off. Cannot for the life of remember how much you get off as a result of doing that. Let's find the catalogue and I can do my proper job of being a Stampin' Up demonstrator. Can't actually show you inside because I don't know if I'm going to put this out onto YouTube too early. Possibly, probably. Also can't find the actual things. Oh. 5 on the mini catalogue. So the stamps are £16 for 21 photopolymer stamps, and the dies, the pierced blooms dies, are £34 for 25 dies. But the bundle is £45, so 10% saving, that's right. So the bundle is £45 on that. I suspect I'm going to use the dies more than the stamps. We shall see. But I really enjoyed crafting and I really enjoyed having a good play to see what I can do. And I've come up with a card that's actually going to be useful for me at some point this year. Good news is my cousin is far too big and important and clever and busy running her business and doing things to get OBEs than she is to watch my YouTube channel, so she won't know about this. So it'll be safe for me to hold on to it until the date comes where she actually does go meet the Queen or another member of the royal family and get her OBE. So thank you for joining me today. I'm going to go off quickly, scrubby the hand to get rid of all of the pink ink off my hands. Wouldn't be Inky Fingered Cat without it. Make some lunch and enjoy the rest of my New Year's Eve. Not doing anything particularly exciting. We are going to go and play the Wii and have a FaceTime with my parents. That's pretty much it. We're not even having anything posh for tea, I don't think. So, have a lovely New Year. This will already be New Year by the time you've seen this. Let's all hope we have a great 2021. If you enjoyed this, please do give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to see more. I am making a concerted effort to put the video on and record more videos, so there'll be more coming. And leave me a comment below. Tell me what you thought. Thanks very much. Until next time. Bye.